Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to continue building on last lesson where we looked at weather versus climate. Today we're just going to take a look at world climates. Going to be a very short section of notes today. Really the only notes you're going to have to take are a few vocabulary terms at the end, and we'll go over those quickly at the end. But I really just want to show you the map of the world's climates. So we don't have what the colors stand for on a key on this map, but there's one trend from a world climate map that I want you to be aware of. And it has everything to do with latitude. So when we start at the center of the Earth, at the equator, you can see that those colors, you have the dark green, you have the dark green, the dark green. You're going to have those colors because that's the warm rainforest area. So you're going to see them right around the equator. You're not going to see them at higher latitudes, but found just at the equator. You're going to find those other savanna areas, the yellow, in this area as well. So you can tell just by the latitude of a place what their climate probably is. So if I go further from the equator, let's go up here to northern Russia. We see purple. What type of climate do you think is there? Well, it's further away from the equator. So they're going to have a very cold tundra or Arctic climate. And then you can see that the most changes are in the middle latitudes, in between the equator and the poles. Those middle latitudes have a variation because those are the areas that are not necessarily just affected by latitude determining their climate. Those are the areas that maybe their proximity to water, like around the Mediterranean Sea. They call that a Mediterranean climate, where it's a little cooler than it is on the mainland. And that's because water is harder to heat and cool. It holds temperature better. Or you're going to notice that you have climates that are very dry. And this is the Sahara Desert area. So you can see the red areas are desert area in the world. Oftentimes, you can tell where a desert is going to be if you can find mountain ranges. Because often, on the one side of mountain ranges, you're going to have deserts. And if we look here, we have the Atlas Mountains that are on the western side of Africa. Over here, we have the Andes Mountains, and the Atacama Desert sits here, which is one of the driest deserts in the world. So mountain ranges play a big role in those dry desert climates. So looking at the map, as we go further from the equator, you can tell that climates are getting cooler. We have the different types of climates defined for you, and you'll look at this more whenever you are working out of the book. But I have them in our notes just as a reminder whenever we need to review them. But I'm not going to test you on any specific climates. I just wanted you to be exposed to them. So you can read through the different climates and see for yourself where they are and where they actually do match up on that map. Now, when talking about climates, there are a few extra vocabulary terms that I want to go over. The first is monsoons. And monsoons are seasonal winds. And those winds can bring dry air or they can bring very moist air. In the country of India and Asia that experiences monsoons, they can receive up to 450 inches of rain per year because of those seasonal winds bringing the moisture. Now compare that to our area in Pennsylvania, where we might average 40 inches of rain a year. 40 inches versus 450 inches. That's a big difference in rain. Another term is savannas. And whenever you go to Africa, that's an area that you typically associate with the savannas. The savannas are where you think of the typical wildlife in Africa being. It isn't desert, but it's not lush rainforest either. It's a very dry, warm area, but not dry enough to be considered a desert. You have steppes, which are similar. There's semi-dry grasslands, but those often are what border deserts. And if you remember on our climate map, when I referred to northern Russia, well, permafrost covers a lot of that northern area of Russia. And permafrost is this permanently frozen layer of soil. Why is it permanently frozen? Because the temperatures there are so cold that the average temperature does not reach above freezing. So that was our quick lesson on climates. Make sure you read everything for today's Google Classroom to ensure that you've done everything, and we'll see you next time.